like to move way over there, and that's okay.
You can do the handheld, just take it off the stand. Be like a rock star.
Yeah, no, you can be like you can stand up there.
I can do plenty of hand motions from right here.
And you can move around in front of the screen. It's okay.
I'm just joking. Didn't work out. All right.
There you go. And
Now,
just try to.
you would know George Strait. You could
I
sing
would.
that.
That's a hypercardioid mic, so try to speak straight into it as much as you can.
Foolhardy Memory or All My Exes Live in Texas? Which one? That's after dinner. I need about a couple drinks to start singing George Strait. All right. I think we're good to go. I think the broadcast is going here. We've got Mom Decorah up here with us. I'm not talking too loud. I don't want to blow your ears out. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This is just incredible to think that we're here meeting together and doing this. Nobody would have thought this a year ago, right? With all the predictions and things that were happening. So, thank you for doing whatever you needed to do to get here and moving forward. So, it's great to have you here. We did this virtually last year, and I just remember in Willard's garage that Amy and I probably drank at least a couple gallons of water apiece. It was quite warm, and those computers in there put off quite a lot of heat. So I'd much rather do it like here, like we're doing. So, and welcome to everyone that's online. Hopefully you can see this and the broadcast is coming through. So this is just an update for a Raptor Resource project that I'm going to do here. We've got Mom Decorah here, it'd be nice to know if we could get into her brain and understand what Eagles were thinking and why they did it. That might not necessarily bring her back here, but at least we'd know why, right? This is a beautiful shot of Mom Decorah when we were here last year, and it was just like right in the morning when I did the greeting. It's like she's welcoming everyone, and I heard that there was an eagle up on the bluff that might have been DM2 just a little bit ago, but welcome everyone. So we got people from Texas, we got people from Maryland, right? Okay, anybody further than that? Michigan, Washington, Vermont, Kansas City. Wow. You guys are dedicated. It's great to have you here. So,
I'm perfect, Cora.
and you walked, right? That you get extra credit for walking. So that's one of the things I think that I wanted to mention is just how the Eagle Cam and the education program just has brought people together. And just everything else that has stemmed from this. We know, we've seen with the Falcon work that Bob Anderson was really the father of the bird cams. There's no disputing that. With his research that he was doing before broadcasting, and then, when the Falcons returned up at the King Plant, and with May's Internest, and 2003 with the Eagle Cam out at Fort St. Vrain, and then now, when Neil and Bob came together to do American Eagle, and decided to put the camera up into what we call N1 up at the Holt House residence. Just amazing to think about what's happened since then. 14 years ago now? We start from 2007. Just amazing. Just think of the millions and millions of people that have watched the Eagle Cam. And then, Bob called them copy cams, but everything comes forward, when it's a great idea. We love it that everyone else is doing the same thing. There's so many Eagle Cams out there. There's so many other folks that are doing education and raising awareness and connecting people with nature through these nature cameras. That's really the goal. So the more that are out there, the better. That's all I can say. Good quality ones, right? the rated G and PG ones. We can't stop that. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit worse than that, right? So as the cottonwood sways, we really never know what is going to happen with those eagles and what they're thinking. Really, this year was so crazy in so many ways. And what ended up happening is Mom and DM2 decided to nest at a different nest. And we don't know exactly the reason why they did that, but it's like, I remember back in 2014, 2015 when I'm driving around in a car with Bob and he's like, we have to have a backup camera, a backup Eagle camera for this program. This program is way too important for us to miss a season like happened in 2012, 2013. So I remember going out and looking at different nests with Bob, and we kind of came to the one that is now the Decorah North nest. And we might have some visitors tonight, some guests that help us out with that. We'll see if they're able to make it, but that connection with the landowner is really critical. So it did what it was supposed to do. We had a backup camera, and it really, it's almost not fair to call it a backup camera. I know all of the mods at DN, all of you folks who watch Decorah North, it's different, and it's unique, and it's beautiful Eagle family. And over the years, I've got a real soft spot in my heart for Mr. North now and DNF and the young that they've raised there, and just the relationships with families up there that help us bring this out to all of you. It's just it's a great thing to be able to do. So we were able to recover, even though Mom and DM2 decided to abandon us. They couldn't get away from the cameras, and they couldn't get away from the fans, though, right? We had fans. Sue and Benny Bruling kind of said, hey, we think this might be a place where they're going, and we started doing some research and checking into it, and voila, we found out that by the absence and presence verification that when they were at the hatchery, they were not at N3, and when they're at N3, they were not at the hatchery, and when one would start going in that direction, to drive faster than them, and I would see them coming over the hill. Maybe they were stopping to say hi to friends or something, family, whatever it was. I could get over there before and see that they had shown up and then verify here. So we know it's them. But it really helped out that we have Robin Brum, we've got all the others that have gone over there, and they've spent the time to take video and photos and things to help us understand that we do have fledglings this year, D37, D38, and D39. Nice job, Decorah Eagles. Bring them home. Do you know that it's a dead tree? Geico is going to be calling you soon and saying that you're not covered. You don't want to get those out of warranty calls, you know. They're calling about the extended warranty on your nest, and your tree is dead. I'm sorry. Doesn't apply. So the Decorah North nest is where we really migrated towards this year, and it was an amazing year, Decorah North. It started out, I remember, and remember that Decorah North, along with N2B, is a nest that we rebuilt. I remember, helping design, and Amy and Kike were up in the nest, and me and Rich and others were down on the ground sending stuff up to them. But that nest was recreated in 2018, and the Eagles loved it, and things have been going well ever since. This year was a banner year. We had 2018, the new nest was built. Will they come? They came right away, and we think that first eagle that showed up was DNF. That took our trout that we lost, our little trout cousins. Nest cam set up in 2015 with 3 different families that are part of that property agreement. Black flies, this is part of the history. It happened in 2019. It's in Superpowered Eagles, Eagle Power, DN9, was part of that crew that basically went into rehab at SOAR and then was soft released down in mid-Iowa. DN9 fell, recovered for rehab. That's just some history. 2020, 2021 seasons, we're pretty great. I think we lost DN11, was it? The year before this year, but we had a great pledge, and DN11, DN12 was it DN12?
DN12 pledged.
DN12 pledged and gave us a great show after that for I remember quite some time. And then this year, 13 and 14, it's like, do we think that they're a male and a female? Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
That's what I hear online, so sometimes you guys are the experts. Brother and sister are giving us quite the show, aren't they? So, here's our Eagles, Mr. North, very handsome guy. There's Deanna. She's got that fierce look. She says, I got what it takes. And she did, because I think this picture was taken at like 12 to 15 below. And they never cease to give us comical moments. Here Mr. North came in, and he's basically rearranging the nest and doing stuff while she's incubating the eggs. It's like, I don't even know that you're here, or I think you need a different hairdo, or feather do. I'm gonna dress you up a little bit. So you can see the frost on her feathers. I mean, this is another one. You can see the frost, little mini micro ice crystals on their feathers. It was so cold out. And then Mr. North, he knows how to put a show on with the pheasant feathers, or turkey feathers. It's like, hey, I'm ready to go out to dinner here. Looking pretty sharp. So this February and this March were just nothing short of amazing. We've had this happen one other year where we had over a foot of snow, and the eggs were laid, and they kept the eggs and that center donut hole of the nest pretty much covered up by being there. And then they get up and they shed the snow a couple times through the snowstorm with their wings, and then they'll rearrange the eggs a little bit and get back down. But to fit that almost 3-foot body and get that brood patch down to incubate those eggs at that, with that a foot or a foot plus of snow there is just crazy amazing. I mean, we've always wondered, are they going to make it? Are those eggs going to hatch? And I think each time we've had that kind of snowstorm, I can't remember the first year, but this year it was twice we had 2 of those, and both eggs hatch. So they do an amazing job. They're very well equipped and able to handle that. So we're learning that through experience. There's another movie coming out next year that we were working on video footage, and I'll just tell you, I can't tell you who it is or who's going to put it on, but this footage from Decorah North is on that. It's pretty amazing stuff. So we're keeping the education going through movies, across the world and across the country. They work great together. I mean, this is like, hey, it's your turn, it's your shift, get over here. So, right after that snowstorm, the second one, here's that looks like DNF, I think, calling out Mr. North. And we're passing through the eggs and the hatching here, but there's our little fuzzy beauties there. And look at the transformation. Pretty amazing. Like I said, they have given us an incredible year of viewing and just watching in the absence of not having activity at M2B here at Hatchery. And this is just a couple days ago, I think. Tender moments of eagle siblings, I guess that's what I'll say. We do research. We've got cam operators that are a network, and they network together and they record every piece of food that comes up there. It's just amazing. Shout out to our cam operators, Smitha, Liz, Dave, who is here, Sandy, who's here, and others, Mikey. It's been an amazing year of just I used to do this myself and try to do most all the cam operating in the early years, and I know that we would not be able to do anything like what we're doing right now if we didn't have all the volunteer help with the cam operators. They do a wonderful job. So this shows Decorah North Nest food prey feeding totals for 2020-2021 season. We've got it broken out by Mr. North, DNF, by prey, fish heads, pieces, feedings, self-feedings, after the young started feeding themselves. So some very interesting statistics. We've got that to compare with other years. We've got some really interesting data that are presented between the North Nest and the Decorah nest here at the hatchery, and you'd think that there'd be a huge difference because this is right next to the trout hatchery, but we found that there really wasn't that much difference in the number of fish and the number of meals that were brought up. They were very, very close. I remember presenting that last year and I was quite surprised how even things were between the two nests. There's no cow getty down here though. There's cattle there, and when they have a baby, the placenta and leftovers that are there, that's a food source that those eagles use. So that's what cow getty is. So here we got top food item is fish. Friday, right? Pieces, unidentified food objects, furry pelts and bones, 1 raccoon, 20 fawn, 20 cow getty, 11 rabbit, 9 muskrat. And I think I also had a few box, which was kind of sad. I don't see it on here. I'm that. So Decorah Eagle. Let's talk Decorah Eagles. 3rd year after the mate change with the M2. They did change nests. We think that they probably were working on N3 before 2020, probably back as early as 2019. And we saw them over the hill towards the Upper Iowa River quite a few times. And remember that season ended pretty early with the flies. We lost track of DM2, I think, early in the summer. We think probably out of the town. Was from that part of the Decorah. I think he dragged Mom over that way. We know that Mom was here ever since she and Dad here in 2007, 2008. So she's been here, and you think about that. Up to this year, 36 eaglets, 6 hatched, N1 and 2B, 100 birds. Where this new nest is. You know, the raised eaglets, 37, 38, and 39. It's like some food and take it to them. Food in their years and geographical pets when they're making that transition between fed by parents to you're going to be on your own in a couple months and you're going to be taking that migration wherever too. So Mom and DM2, we've been seeing them spend more time here. That's great. We hope that that's some kind of indication that, you know, they're going to like this area and come back. We'll see. No one knows. And that is the big question. Will they return back closer here, come back to N2B? Some amazing photos, I mean, that you guys have been getting. This is from the Millers. They were here for 2 weeks and just left a little bit ago, but beautiful shot of Mom Decorah coming in and landing on the new maple tree. Here's just an amazing shot. Like, that blackbird is like I know you can't do anything to me. I'm faster than you, and I can do it. Look at me. I can do this just like you. It's almost like a perfect mimicking shot. But, you know, they're around. Everyone has got to see. I know DM2 and Mom were on the maple tree 2 days ago. Not yesterday, but the day before, early in the morning before I got here. So they are spending time here. It's still a great place to see eagles. It's still a great place to get photographs of eagles. Oops. And here's N3. And here's a shot of 2 of the eaglets. You can see it's a dead tree. We can see that it's a totally different tree shape, almost like a ice cream glass. You know, very steep angles, and they'd have to build up there quite a bit to get any more surface area. And it's a dead tree, so hopefully they follow that rule of eagles don't like to nest in dead trees, right? You want that cover. Come back. So again, thanks to all the photographers that have been getting shots and video or whatever of Mom and DM2 that we have been able to keep up with. Shift here, I'm just going to talk about a few of the other cameras that we've got. And I can't focus a lot of time on all of them, but this is one of my favorites, the Kestrel Cam. It's the Wisconsin Kestrels. It's a collaborative project with Cornell and with Neil Reddig Productions, Neil Reddig and Laura Johnson down at their farm. It's interesting because Kestrels are really good artists, and their medium is the camera lens, and what they do it with is their mutes, their poop shoot. And so they kept us busy cleaning that cam lens. We need to move that thing a little bit further away. It was a successful year. As I mentioned, this is our partnership with Cornell, Neil and Laura. 4th year of the live cam. Last year we got cut short, 5 beautiful eggs, and then the female disappeared. We thought maybe a Cooper's hawk had gotten her. Neil had said that there was a Cooper's hawk that was hanging around. That happens in the raptor world. Male and female courted, laid 5 eggs. We had a great year. 5 healthy young fledged, and I think it was all like within the same day. And I watched a couple of those fledged videos that Amy posted, and it was the parents could barely even come into that nest box hole with any kind of prey, and they were just mobbed by those 5 young. It was just crazy to watch, crazy to look at. And those videos are still there if you want to go out and see it. Here's just a shot of the 2 adults. There's a little perch there, and it's built right into the barn. It's the hole's there, and there's a full nest box in there. We've got a light tube that provides artificial light, perfectly timed with the sun, and earth rotation, and natural light coming in there. And we've got a blower there and some other things that we actually, in the black fly years, the last couple of years, we've actually had to pump air through there and actually do some treating of the nest box with insecticide just for them to actually live. So you know how bad those black flies can affect kestrels too. There's just a shot of female with the young, the 5 young. That's before they could really do damage with their open mouths and talons. And here's one of the feedings right before that I was mentioning, and the noise and the speed of the vocalizations and the dashing around, it's pretty incredible to watch. All right, let's go to Falcon cams. And this year was an incredible year of learning for us. We've never seen this on cam. We got chances to talk to our Falconer board members and others that we know, just to try to understand what was going on. I mean, we thought we had ideas, but it's like, hey, we need to confirm this. This is really some interesting behavior that's going on. So here's Great Spirit Bluff. This is where I grew up, just north of La Crescent, Apple Blossom Scenic Drive, right on the mighty Mississippi River. It looks out over Lake Onalaska. This is where the nest box is that Bob basically set up with my dad and family, and that's how I got involved with the Raptor Resource Project. But a beautiful bluff along the Mississippi River. The nest box is, let's see if I can, nest box is about right in here, I believe. Cam is over here. And maybe the nest box is right there. Nest box is right there. Newman Returned, that was first thing. I didn't get too fancy with all the slides here. There was a lot of drama going on. Our female from the year before basically got into a pretty knock-down, drag-out fight with, was it Nina? Nina and Nova. And maybe something happened to Nova. She was the one who prevailed. It looked like Nina left. Nova came back, at least for that day, and then we never saw her again. So something may have happened to her during that fight, which looked pretty intense. A day or so later, a very young female, a second-year female shows up, which is now Zoe. That was the name that we gave her for new girl, right? And Newman obviously had to teach her the ropes, right? There's no ropes involved here. It's either cam arms or branches or trees or whatever, but as you know, it's just swiping tails across. It's not like, it's pretty, it's PG, right? Now, the number of times they were doing it a day, I don't know about that, but whatever. Falcons are pretty prolific, just like other raptors, but hey, they were successful. We were very excited that we got 3 eggs laid. The first egg was laid, and then almost 2 weeks came before number 2 came, but then right on schedule, 2 to 3 days after that, we got egg number 3. There were some inconsistencies with what we normally see, with incubation starting at the 3rd egg, that long delay between egg 1 and egg 2. And then we also had a couple times where it looked like one of the eggs got kicked out and they were only incubating 2 eggs for a while. One of them was probably up, sitting behind the nest box front board. But they did make it back, and they all must have gotten incubated. We saw them on 3 eggs, and we had 3 hatch. So it just shows the resilience of that developing egg and how it can survive some of those temperature changes and fluctuations like that. And delayed incubation can go that long before. I think once the incubation is started, it's a lot harder to have those delays with incubation once it gets started. But up until that delayed incubation starts, there's a little bit of a window of time there. So our 3rd IS here, there's Chance. We call it Chance the Raptor, and Chance, I think, because we saw so many things that happened or could have happened that were just going to get in the way of any falcon surviving this year. Zoe is a new female. We confirmed this with our board member, Jim Robinson. They will incessantly shuffle, almost to the point where they're basically defeathering their young. So we saw maybe some minor things that happened. It took a little bit longer for Chance to be able to stand, and some of that might have been just getting leg coordination and things after all the shuffling going on. Amy and I did get down. The 2 that came before Chance did not make it, and basically it was that time period where the innate behavior and the learned behavior connected, and she finally figured out after 2 did not make it that she got the hang of it, that these pieces of food need to be smaller, and she was able to get enough nourishment into that little bitty tiny beak. I'll never forget the first time. Now looking back, it's kind of funny that she laid a blackbird right in front of the newly hatched young, and it's like, hey, here it is. Come on, how come you're not eating? And unfortunately, it took 2 young, beautifully young falcons, and that's the way it works. Got it figured out on the 3rd one. Now look at Chance. This is showing her beautiful wings. She's just about ready to fledge. We think that's going to happen any day now. Amy and I did go down and treat her at a little over a week old for parasites, hippoboscids. We used a insecticide that's good for birds that we know works. We use it for black flies, and now we know it's good and effective for hippoboscids too. This is what it looked like, I think, yesterday. That's what the Mississippi River looks like on these days with these temperature changes. Beautiful. Cloud Lake is what we call this. one of the beautiful times where you can't see I-90 below, and I-90 is great to have, but it's nice not to see it once in a while. And there's Chance ready to take the skies any day now. Flyway Cam. Flyway Cam is just something that that was, let's get away from man-made structures as much as we can, and let's get right out in the middle of nature. Let's set ourselves down there, and let's have an experience like you can't really have, unless you have something that's not human out there recording it for you. So, Mississippi River Flyway Cam, it's our partnership with the National Wildlife and Fish Service out of Bryce Prairie, Bryce Prairie Conservation Association, and Explore.org. Started moderated chat in 2019, and that's gone awesome. We got a lot of our mods here in the audience today, and have been here this week. A model for other organizations. Many have reached out and said, how are you guys doing this? Will you help us with this? Madison Audubon, we've been helping them and others, just doing a little bit of work helping out the National Eagle Center with some of their cameras and things too. So it's great to be able to share that and help people see these beautiful creatures that we get to steward along and live side by side with. Serves as a source of information and enjoyment for many. It's just a really cool shot near sunset. There's two eagles doing their tumble that everybody loves to see in the air, just playing around. Egret, beautiful shots. Way too many species for me to show everything here, just some examples. Everybody appears to get along, Tundra swans here, eagles, ducks, the geese. Here we got the pelicans. This is just recent. The pelican pods have come back. The pelicans are coming. It's one of the first ones coming back this time of year. We get to see them fishing. And it's just some more shots of a seagull and some egrets. And
Sora.
it's a Sora, yeah. This is a bird called a Sora, and it likes cattails and marshes, and it's the first time I've seen one. I had to reach out to my nephew, the ornithologist. Maybe you might have known, but I just, it's like, what is this? It's so cool looking. I just saw that this week. So, moving on. Missouri Turkey Vultures. We got to bring back one of the cams that Bob started up, I believe it was in 2011, 2012, with Chuck and John down in Missouri, in Marshall, Missouri. And they got a hold of Bob and said, we got turkey vultures in our barn. How'd you like to put a cam down here? We had a couple of years where it worked out great. Then there was a family with some dogs and kids, and it just didn't work out. And things changed, and it was back to, hey, we had a successful year last year, let's get that cam going again. So this has been a really cool year to see the turkey vultures. I believe it's the only turkey vulture cam out there in the world right now, and this might be the only one pretty much ever. But we've got one of the adults sunning there, which is one of the coolest things to watch turkey vultures do, is spread their wings, and they got that bluish purplish cast to their wings. You can't see it here, but you can see the glowing sun on the back in the shadow. Here's the two young now. The watchers call them little bits. They're not so little anymore. They're going to be losing their down, and now you can see they're stretching out those wings, and they're getting ready to fledge here sometime in the next couple weeks. Peregrine Falcon monitoring. We had a banner year. This was an awesome year. Very rewarding in many ways. One, we didn't have to wear masks all the time. It was much more enjoyable that way in the heat. We banded 80 falcons, and there's probably about another 8 or 10 that were too old for us to even try on cliff sites. If they're old enough that they look like we could possibly push them off, we won't take a chance. And I know Harper's Ferry or Leo's Bluff was one. I think Mawson's Bluff south of Nelson, Twin Bluffs, Wisconsin was one. So there's a number of them that we couldn't get to. So we could have been close to pushing 90, and that would have been, I think, a record. So we're finding some more nest sites, natural ones, and our monitoring and banding program is strong as it's ever been. Here, this I guess Effigy Mounds last year was just an amazing moment where Bob and John Dingley and Dave Kester and the group that raised the Peregrine Falcons and Bluffton here, and then released them over a 2-year period at Effigy Mounds off of Hanging Rock. That monumental event where they basically helped the Falcon figure out and remember where it came from. Most of them were going towards square-shaped nest boxes on bluffs or other buildings, and they were not going back to the natural eyries and potholes, and they figured it was nest site imprinting, and they were correct. And 2 years after they did that release, they started showing up Lansing, Queens Bluff, and Maiden Rock. And Mawson's, I believe, were some of the first ones. Maybe Castle Rock was too. So just some amazing research that was done, and that work that Bob and the Raptor Resource Project did, that's what made this banding for the last 2 years so special. So 29 site visit. This is a shot from last year. This is that we were banding Bob and Maggie, named after Bob and Maggie Jones, and it was just monumental. It was one of those experiences that you never forget. And here's some of our falcons at Redbird Bluff. So let's talk a little bit about D37, D35, D36. You guys heard up. Anyone who came to the telemetry demonstration today got to learn that, if you didn't know already, that D35 was found dead and that she died because of lead poisoning. You know that the females are more susceptible to lead poisoning than the male eagles are. So I guess, unfortunately, that makes sense. There's number 6 shot, probably some BB shot from small game or bird hunting. D27 is currently right around here, Upper Iowa River, just a little bit west of town. Sometimes she's been hanging just a little bit south of town here. So she's still around. She's probably got a white head now. She's probably just about getting ready to find a mate and maybe set out on territory one of these days. D36, we know that he's been hanging out up towards Harmony, Preston, and Chatfield area. High water, we know it's the Root River. So here's D35 and D36. Right here at the hatchery the year that they were dispersing. They look like they're all ready to go, standing straight up, and just for the camera, I think they were hams. Here's that shot showing where D27 has been hanging out. Decorah, Upper Iowa River, Trout Creek. Here's that shot that Amy put together, which is really cool. It kind of shows how much an eagle can really see when they're up in the sky. So it's totally different, the perspective that they see when they're in the air. So how do they navigate and find these rivers and valleys and find prey and find other eagles? It's easy. They've got the eyesight to do it, and they've got the height to do it. So here is just a simulation of Chatfield, and here's Decorah, and you can easily see how they could follow that riverine system and make their way back down to Decorah. Classroom. The pandemic hit. We had just put out our virtual education program. Our teacher group, a bunch of them are here. We got some of our teacher education group folks here right now, right? Yep. Lori and Meg is here, I think, right? And Deb. Any others? But anyway, thanks for what you do. We got some cool content that people are using in the classroom. And one of the things that we are working on right now with Jeff Worrell, our new employee, is to get this material out to the classrooms and really help teachers and others realize and know that this material is there for them. So we might be having a conference to bring some of those teachers in and teach them and show them how to use that. But that's in the works right now. You can see we've got the educational chat. Back last time we counted, we had about 1,500 classrooms that had logged in and asked for access to the resources. So we know that folks are seeing this without us really trying too hard. So if we start getting the word out that this stuff is out there for you guys, we really think that this could really take off more than it has already. Guest moderators, these kids come in, they know so much about eagles, they probably know more than in some areas than I could answer. This is our core mission, is really connecting kids and people with nature through bald eagles, through Peregrine falcons, through the Flyway, through restoration efforts and conservation efforts. Just some examples of some of the stuff that they produce. Math, weight, other core and STEM subjects that they work on. Here's some shots of that in action. And here's some mantle, Lori, some of the verb demonstrations of showing their verbs. Mantle and soar. I've been in the classroom when they do this stuff, and it's just precious. It's precious to see kids learning this way and doing this stuff, and then talking to their families about it afterwards. It really is a kind of learning that is more efficient and effective a lot of times than reading stuff out of a book. Okay, our banding station. Not going to talk a whole lot about that, but we did have 2 banding stations. We saw lots of species. We have stipends that we do with Luther College, and we're hand in hand with them. We're on Luther property up on Hawk Hill, and we set up 2 blinds, one on Hawk Hill and one over at the Reddick Farm this last year. And the students got lots of experience. We masked up. We had filtration units and things to protect through COVID protocol. We made it through that successfully, so it was a very successful year. Dave Kester will probably be here later if you want to talk to him about any of that program. It's an amazing program. It was funded for 2 years by an ID&R REAP grant, and we loved it. We've been running it every year based on contributions from you all and others that help support us. It's such an important program. Just some examples. Here's Sophia Landis, who also claims and bands falcons with us and does monitoring, as a perfect example of bringing new researchers and new people up through the ranks. Sophia started out in the banding station, and now she's helping us out on multiple fronts. So bringing in, training in the new guard, right? There's an example of Dave Kester and Emily Neal here right in the Decorah schools, training and teaching some of the kids. They got a curriculum that they get pre-approved in advance by the school district, and they come into different grades and do a program. And those birds that they're catching up on Hawk Hill, they'll let the teachers know, and then they'll come down and do the release and do a program outside with the kids. We have the Robert Anderson Memorial Scholarship RAMS program, and that's going strong. It's self-funding now. Thank you so much for all your donations. Anyone can still make donations to that. Right now we're funding a $1,500 scholarship annually to a student at Luther College right now that's in an environmental science or biology coursework program. And we've done that. This is our 3rd year now that we've offered that. And the funding is just the returns on the money through the Community Foundation of Northeast Iowa. They're the ones who manage that fund for us. It's self-sustaining now. And someday we'll add to it. Maybe we can sponsor 2 students. Philippine Eagle, we're making progress there. We might be working on a monumental program to help them draw in some funding resources and some famous people, some entertainers and others to help with the Philippine Eagle effort to help this most endangered eagle in the world and help educate the Philippine folks, just like Cornell and like Neil Reddick and Laura Johnson and others have already been doing. It's a successful program with Bird of Prey and some of the other programs that have been shown over there. We'd like to try to help them with that breeding program and take that to the next level. Just a shot of that, and you can go to Amazon and you can rent Bird of Prey for $15 anytime you want and watch that amazing movie. What's coming for 2022? Nest cam prep and maintenance, September, November. We look forward to that every year. We get to invite our good friend PK Arnold back in from San Francisco and help us out. We got new eagle location in Decorah. You know, we need to have that backup cam, and we can't trust that they're going to nest an M2B. So we probably will be finding another eagle nest here close by. We've got some good prospects and camming up another nest here this fall, just so we do have a backup nest, just in case something happened at Decorah North, which was our main eagle cam for our education program this year. We brought back the Eagle Valley Flyway Cam, so this coming fall with the migration should be pretty amazing to see that. We got the Flyway Cam in Lake Onalaska. We'll see some differences between those two, but we're really excited to see another one that we can watch what's going on the mighty Mississippi. And then we got a Golden Eagle monitoring program that we've approved. We saw Jeff Worrell earlier today talking about golden eagles and how they come down to this part and they winter down here. We're really excited to get going with that program. So that's a pretty exciting thing. Just some of the noteworthy Raptor films. You guys know these. You know, the ones that Bob and Neil did. Then we got Iowa Public Television, talks about Bob and the transition, you know, after Bob passed away. Decoding the Driftless, Secret Life of Owls, Bird of Prey, and then recently Eagle Power with PBS Nova. I can put that back up if you want to. And this is being recorded online too. So thank you so much. We're coming up to the end here. Thanks to all of our moderators. Let's just give everybody a hand here. We got our moderators, our teachers that are here, and some of our cam operators are here, and some can't be here. Cam operators in Florida, Ohio, you know, wherever in the country. They do it all electronically, or they do it here from the shed or from my basement. The agencies, all of our partners, we could not do that without them. And you know, we're always doing the best that we can to show a good example. So anytime there's an opportunity to do this kind of stuff, that landowners will be welcoming to do this kind of education and outreach. Our videographers, they make it very easy for Amy and I, especially Amy with her nest flicks and everything, the roundups that she does. Thank you, Amy. There's a lot of work and a lot of effort that goes into getting that stuff out there, and it's a pretty lean crew that we've got here, so all that effort is pretty amazing.
I'm going to break into John's speech, which he'll tell you I feel free to do anytime I care to, and offer a thanks to John. I think, you know, John worked his butt off. Susan's been really supportive of it. This is not an easy job, and he's done a really good job. Bob made an excellent choice. He took us from where we were, and that was a good place, but he took us to someplace even better. So let's hear it for John.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks, everyone. It really is fun most all the time. Sometimes when you get in the business part, it's like, hey, I need an MBA to do this stuff. I can, but I'd rather be doing other things. We mentioned teachers already. And probably, you know, a very significant effort, you know, of both funding and what we do comes through Annenberg Foundation, Charlie Annenberg, and the Explore Group. I just want to special thanks to them for helping us out with our cam operator, assistance and volunteers, and the funding that they give us each year. It really means a lot, and it helps us to do what we want to do and go further. So that's all I've got. We got a little bit of time for questions. Our eaglets, as always. Can I
come up for just a moment?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a special thing.
Amy would like to mention a thank you.
So I already thanked John. I just want to take a moment to thank our moderators. The Decorah Eagles, I know that was a tough year because we didn't really have that. The Decorah North Moderators did an amazing job. The Flyway, you guys are awesome. So I really want to thank you because you do so much engagement, so much for us. So thank you. And Facebook group, I didn't mention you, but you guys are always out there doing the hard work, letting people know what's going on, answering questions. So I don't think any of you are here, but also just so you know, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I was mentioning Annenberg and Explore.org. As far as other organizations that we work closely with, we partner with CAMs, especially Falcon monitoring that Bob set up relationships for a long time ago with a lot of milling companies up and down the river, like in La Crosse area, U.S. Bank and others like that. We've got a bank down in Peoria, Illinois, that we ban Falcons at the top of that. We've got an S-Box. We've got a great relationship, and early on I mentioned Maze Internest with Excel Energy. We work with them hand in hand with their bird cam program, and they're a significant help to us in keeping Amy and I busy. They keep us busy, and we love working with them. And I think that special camera out there, probably that first Eagle Cam out at Fort St. Vrain, it's been challenging over the years, but the last 2 years we've had some great exposure there with Excel Energy out at that location, and that's a special one, and a bunch of the Falcon sites here too, up and down the Mississippi River. So thank you to Excel Energy for partnering with us. Any questions that folks have? Go ahead.
I know you banned the Falcons, and I noticed there's a blue one on one leg and a silver one on the other leg. How come they have two?
So the question was, I noticed that there's 2 different bans on the Falcons. One of them is through the Bird Banding Lab, and that's the actual U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service ban. That's the official ban, the ID of that bird. That we got a male and a female band for that silver band. And then we've also got a color band that we use for identification. It's meant to be easily IDable as best as we can with a small band that size. And it's got a number and a letter on it and colors. So that one's to help us with spotting scopes or cameras or whatever to ID the bird. You're welcome.
What about the strategy of let's build a nest and come to it?
That's something that I've definitely thought about. We've got a couple locations here where there are nests that used to be in some nice big trees, or there's some trees that look like they would be great nests next to another nest area. We know the build it and they will come works here. It's a possibility. I was actually thinking about the possibility when we do our work here of, remember Mom starting, or actually that young male starting a nest with Mom kind of just watching on 2 summers ago. I think it might be worth starting just a partial nest in N1 as we've been thinking about that. It's a good idea. The cameras are there already. It would be a minimal effort if we're going up there to clean, to put a few branches up there and get something started. So we probably will talk about it, and we might do that. But yeah, a great idea. I thought about that at a couple of the other potential nest locations that we're looking at. With N2B here already, and with N1, we're thinking, I don't know that we're going to try to do something else here. We're really hoping that just some of the disturbances over the last couple of years here, may have been some of the reasons that they may have chosen another location, and hopefully, as things have settled down around here, our man-made influences and stuff like that, at this nest location, they might come back to MTV. We had some construction going on last year. There's things that happen. There's traffic that goes by here with trucks that are hauling gravel and things like that. Just, in the city of Decorah area, things that we really don't have any control over. And we notice it. We see some of the Eagles' reactions. it's like, hey, I wonder, is that affecting their choices? We really have no way to know. But so there's things like that. Maybe we're not putting out enough fish for them. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Brian and see if we can put more fish out. Right? Anything we can do. If you guys got any great ideas, feel free to let us know, and we're always going to consider. Okay.
Well, if you use the cameras on another tree, according to Murphy, those be the other one.
Right. Murphy's Law, yeah. And just so you guys know, here's kind of how it started. Here's a $750 PTZ analog camera, and here's a $20 homemade, it was either a bubble juice container or a piece of plastic with foam in it. And, Bob was good at doing a lot with not a whole lot of cost resources. He was very thrifty. These things worked great in their day. When we put multiple cameras up in a nest these days, not even talking about hiring climbers and us, the work that we do and staying in hotels and things like that, putting 3 cameras up in a nest easily is about $15,000 to $20,000 these days to bring the high HD resolution cameras to you guys. So our budget is over $300,000 a year. So just the free will donations that folks like you have been making, and our work on contract with Excel Energy, and grant from Explore, Annenberg, those are the things that keep us going. And bequests too. I have to say that over the last 3-4 years, we've received some significant bequests, between $50,000 to $100,000 a piece, coming from folks who decided to include the Raptor Resource Project in their will and their end-of-life planning and giving. So that's huge for us. It's always an option. We're probably going to be letting people know more and more that it makes a difference, and we love it when people can do that, or if they want to do that. That helps us. So anyway, here's some unique mementos. We got more like this, but these are the ones that came from the Missouri Turkey Vulture site when I got to redo that one this year in April, I think. So, good question. Other question, Pauline?
Yeah, I have a question about the fray at DNN. I noticed this year, it seems more than ever, and more frequently, the adults would bring in tiny bits of food, one at a time, like 6 trips in with just a morsel. And I'm just...
Yeah, that's interesting. And I noticed when taking a look at the statistics, it was actually mentioned parts of birds, animals, or whatever. Now we know that they will bring in like a turkey foot, a turkey wing, or breast, or parts of animals like that. So is that what you're talking about? Or more smaller pieces?
Or even smaller, like
Yeah.
pieces of fish.
Yeah. So maybe they're gorging themselves first and then bringing some of the remainders back just to make sure that they're taking care of themselves first. I don't know that I've heard of much of eagle caching like falcons do. So I can't say that I know that that's something, but my first guess is that maybe they're taking care of themselves first before bringing it to the nest. Was it earlier in the year or later in the year? That makes sense because you see what those young will do, going after them. Anytime they see a parent with food, it's like they are on them. And they can actually get they're very aggressive. So that might be because they're taking care of themselves and doing that before exposing themselves to